Today's video is going to be something a little bit different. I have enjoyed making a few random bits of content over the past couple of weeks just to fill in the middle of the week sort of thing. And this is no different. And today I'm going to be talking about a book, For the Wing. Becky doesn't even know I'm doing this, so she's going to be fuming and she's going to see the thumbnail when you guys see it and she's going to be like, well confused. But For the Wing is a fantasy novel, one of three so far. And there is going to be spoilers in this video, so if it's something that you think you're going to be reading soon, click off. If you're not particularly a fan of reading anyway and you want to just listen about what the book is about, please carry on. Or if you just want to listen to me ramble about a book and sort of take you through the story in as brief a time as I can, then feel free and just close your eyes, relax and fall asleep. All of that good stuff. But I'm going to be talking about For the Wing because I didn't want to read it. It's like, I'm just going to put it out that I don't read the books, I listen to them on Audible. Because I don't particularly have time to read. And I know that's daft, but I travel to work and come home from work listening to the audiobooks, and then when I'm sat making dinner, I'll stop making dinner. I'll sometimes have my headphones on, and over this weekend I've had it on my computer while I've been sat playing a few games and sorting some things out. So, just like I would YouTube and Spotify, that's the time I get to read / listen. And I suppose, like, I've never really been into reading anyway, but it's a good way to digest and take in this type of content, so it's something I'm a big advocate for nowadays. But For the Wing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read all the bits of text that are around it. I'm going to read the blurb for you guys. I'm going to show you a few of the bits and bobs because I don't get to see some of this. Because obviously I listen to it, so I don't get to see all the maps and the diagrams and things like that. Which is kind of cool actually to sort of see them. And then I'll give you a brief sort of rundown of the story of the first book. I have since started the second one. I am 3 chapters in. And it's sort of re-tied up any loose ends from the end of this book. So, For the Wing. Brutal games, grumpy dragons, sizzling sexual tension from a Jennifer L. Armentrout, the Sunday Times bestseller, Rebecca Yarros. For the Wing, graduate or die. For the Wing. On the back it says, as compelling as it is deadly, by Nalini Singh. A wild, sexy rollercoaster of a ride from Mary Pearson. Fiercely romantic and unforgivably addictive. And then readers of Sarah J. Maas and Lee Podugo will flock to this one. And yes, as you can see, it's got a dragon on the back. So, let's have a quick read of the blurb. Welcome. See, this is why I don't read, because I can't read. I can read, but welcome to the brutal and elite world of Baskiath War College. 20-year-old Violet Sorringale was supposed to enter the scribe quadrant, living a quiet life among books and history. Now, the commanding general, her toughest Talon's mother, has ordered Violet to join the hundreds of candidates striving to become the elite of Navarre, dragon riders. But when you're smaller than everyone else, and your body is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away, because dragons don't bond to fragile humans, they incinerate them. With fewer dragons willing to bond than cadets, most would kill Violet to better their own chances. The rest would kill her just for being her mother's daughter. Like Zayden Ryerson, the most powerful and ruthless wing leader in the Riders Quadrant, she'll need every edge her wits can give her just to see the next sunrise. Yet, with every day that passes, the war outside grows more deadly. The kingdom's protective wards are failing, and the death toll continues to rise. Even worse, Violet begins to suspect leadership is hiding a terrible secret. Everyone at Biscayth has an agenda, so sleep with one eye open, because once you enter, there are only two ways out: graduate or die. So, cut a long story literally short. Violet is the daughter of the Commanding General. No, what is it? Commander. Yeah, she's Commander. Her mum. To set the scene, previous years, 6 years ago, there was a rebellion. The rebels, they fought against Navarre and lost, and so many of the parents were executed, and children were forced to join the Dragon Riders, or the Rider Quadrant, in sort of a test of leadership and loyalty. Basically saying, look, we're not going to kill your kids, but we're going to put them somewhere where they're either going to die or they're going to become a better part of our army, so, which is ridiculous, but it's all part of the world, do you know what I mean? And so Violet is the daughter of the commander's mother of Navarre. So obviously, if a lot of the people that come through as Dragon Riders are from that rebellion, they instantly have a hatred towards anyone that was part of that family, if that makes sense. There are certain rules that the rebellions. But yeah, so there are going to be spoilers as I carry on talking now. So if you don't, like I said, if you don't want to know, just click off. If you do want to know, carry on. So Violet starts off by getting put into the Rider Quadrant, and she has to go through loads of tests and tribulations, and they have a very high death toll because it basically weeds out all the weakest, from the strong. And it's not just about brawn, strength, and things like that. There is a lot of things that go into it. Imagine like Divergence, the films and books, obviously. So I describe this book as Game of Thrones meets Avatar meets Divergent. That's like the three things that you've got to sort of take with this. Anyway, and obviously there's a bond of dragons. So you basically have to go through all this training and, building yourself up, testing your skills, all of this normal like college stuff that you'd have to do. But imagine it's like a fighter quadrant and a Dragon Rider quadrant. But there's also a thing called threshing. Now threshing is where you have to walk through dragons. You have to walk, I can't remember what it's called, through the veil. The veil, there we go. And basically, imagine Harry Potter, like you don't choose the wand chooses you. You don't choose the dragon bonds you. Okay, so you have no choice over what dragon bonds you. You don't have a choice if you don't get bonded to a dragon. If they don't choose you, then you're without a dragon. You have to carry on to the end of the year, and you've got to redo the year until a dragon bonds you, and then or die, basically. Like it says, graduate or die. So obviously she goes into this quadrant. She has a friend called Rhiannon, and she has a friend called Dane. Now Dane is her best friend growing up. Very protective of her when she gets there. Is very surprised that she's there because all roads that she was leading, or all the roads that she was on, was leading to the scribe quadrant. She's very clever in her book smarts and history and reading and keeping up with literature and things like that. So that's what everyone expected her to do, but because her mum was the general and said that she had to go into the Rider Quadrant because all Sorengales are riders, because her brother, who previously died, by the way, in the initial rebellion, so her brother died in the rebellion. Her older sister is a dragon rider, and so she's the youngest and has to go into it. Okay. Obviously meets up with Dane to go through this thing called Parapet, which is basically like your first step to get in. Basically, everyone goes over the parapet, and if you don't make it, you don't make it, and then that dwindles like your numbers before you've even got there. Luckily, she makes it, meets up with Dane, and everything's happy days, happy days. All of a sudden, this Dane character is looking a lot more handsome than she ever remembered because she hasn't seen him in a year because he went in the previous year. And it's like, whoa, where's this stud of a man come from? Anyway, they go through and she meets Zayden. Now, Zayden is the son of one of the rebellion leaders. His dad was the key man that started the rebellion. And so it's, oh shit, he wants to kill me. Now, a lot of them want to kill her anyway, because one, if you can dwindle down that number before threshing, you have a higher chance of bonding a dragon. Also, you have a higher chance of graduating because there's less competition. So people like killing people anyway. You know, there are certain rules. You can't do it in the room, you can't do it while they sleep. You can't do it from your own wing. So, it is what it is. But outside of that, anything's possible. Anyway, so Zayden and his merry men of the rebellion. It's really bugging me because the rebellion people have names. There's like a name for the whole lot, and I don't know why I can't remember it all of a sudden. Sorry, on top of this, so Zayden is also one of the most powerful people in there at the minute. He's in his third year. So third years you have first year, second year, third year. First years your new recruits. Second years you'll have some wing leaders. No, you'll have some squad leaders. You have some squad leaders in there, and Dane is a squad leader. So they're the ones that have, slightly excelled. You've got some responsibility. And third year is where you become a wing leader, and the best of the best become wing leaders, and they look after the whole wing. So you've got like your wing leader, your squad leader, and your squad, and then you recruit. Anyway, it's like first, second, third year. And so Zayden is both the bad guy but really powerful. So you've always got to watch out for him and things like this. So when she goes through her training, like on the map training and fighting and things like this, she's put against him, I think, once or twice, or they have a fight anyway, and he basically completely embarrasses her through the knack of just absolutely battering her without actually doing much damage. Like, she's pulling daggers out from everywhere, and he's just like, goodbye, see you later, and making a mockery of it, which she finds both attractive and very scary. Like, he could kill me right now, but he's proven that he just isn't going to kill me. Or at least he's not going to do it here. He's going to play with me and just... He's not going to do it in front of everyone in the middle of a thing. It'd be too easy for him. And he's just proven the fact that if he really wanted to kill me, he could. So there's no fun in that because it's just easy for him. Which scares her to death, obviously, because he's meant to be the terrible arch enemy guy. So, anyway, and again, these aren't much spoilers, but I will say literally spoiler before I give you one. You're listening anyway, guys. You're listening, aren't you? So, what's the difference? So, anyway, she gets better, and, she has many an injury. Dane has to help her. Dane is the complete white knight in this situation. He is doing everything he can to try and get her out. He says if you leave now, you can go to the scribe quadrant, and your mum's not going to know for a year anyway, and by that time, she's not going to care. And Violet's starting to get very pissed off with this, because she's like, I'm here, I'm trying to prove my own worth now, like, I've accepted it, can you accept it? And he's like, I don't want to see you die, I'm not going to sit here and live while you hurt yourself every 2 minutes, getting battered by everybody, with enemies like left, right and centre. You've got no standing, everyone knows who you are, everyone wants you dead, it's just not good. And Violet's like, look, just stop trying to protect me too much and just help me, and he doesn't help her. And then Zayden's like, he sees something in her, and he's like, no, she can be good. And he basically then, through a little bit of the book, does try and help her, and she's like, I don't know why he's helping me. And then he's trying to, like, what's the right word? What word can I use? Not tempt her, but try and impress her. Otherwise, you're just permanently on the back foot. Do you know what I mean? And she's like, this guy's meant to be killing me. Do you know? Like, he's meant to be the bad guy. Anyway, it gets to threshing, where they have to walk through the veil, and the dragons choose them. A lot of the time, the dragon just incinerates them. So, like, the dragons can just kill you when you're in there. So, you know, there are certain rules for certain dragons. Like, there's somewhere if they approach you, you should, you know, face them. There's some that you should back away from. There's some that you show respect to. Things like this. That's all learned throughout the book. And so she goes through. And what you need to know is that dragons have their own... so something I haven't mentioned. When you bond a dragon, you gain sort of basic magic powers as such. So like being able to move a few objects, or I don't know, just being able to sort of cast runes and cast wards up and things like this, and just, you know, simple little what they call little magic tricks, just like simple things that everyone can do. But then you have a signet, which is like a power. You harness a power. For some it's like fire breathing, for some it's like mind reading once you've touched them. For some, like so, Zayden's, for example, is he can command shadows, he can hide in the shadows, he can pull shadows up, he can just engulf a room in darkness, all of that, which is very powerful apparently, because you can hide a lot of stuff, especially in war. You can just cover whatever. Dane's power is he can read your mind, but he has to be touching you. And so there are certain things about sort of mind reading where if it's completely like non-touch and I can just look at people and read their minds, they die straight away. Like, one, they go insane because they just start here. The minute that signet comes through after bonding, it just overwhelms people, and then they don't want people to control it, because then that is absolutely, like, there is no secret unturned like that. Everyone will know everything at that point, so they just kill them. They say it gets too much, you're gone. And it happens to one of the kids in the book. He just gets his neck snapped and he just gets wheeled off, and it's like, what the fuck? Anyway, so everyone's going through and bonding dragons and whatever. But then three of the lads gang up on Violet, and they're like, no, actually, tell a lie. They go and spot what's known as a golden feather tail. I could be very wrong. Now, if it's a feather tail, it means they're younger, they don't bond. Very rare that you see them in the Vale, if at all, because they're kept where the dragons live. And so, they're going through it, they're going through threshing, and they see one, and these other three kids are like, we're going to go kill it. You know, prove our dominance to the dragons, sort of thing, and, you know, make us look big, which is like a big no-no anyway. Like, how ridiculously stupid is that? And Violet's like, whoa, you ain't doing that. You can't just kill a dragon, are you stupid? So tries to defend this dragon, with it being a youngster and not really knowing what to do. Now these are spoilers, by the way. So as she's there defending it, she's about to get killed. Zayden's there watching. Now they are not allowed to get involved in threshing at all. They're actually not allowed to get involved in a lot of the like procedural things that happen and the ceremonial things that happen. They just have to let things go and let things happen. So they can't really get involved. It's very frowned upon, and it goes against the whole like codex of rules and things like that. So Zayden's there watching, and she's like, "What are you doing? You shouldn't be here." And he's about to intervene with this whole fight, and she's getting cut. By the way, they're actually fighting. They're not just like arguing. They're actually fighting with each other, 3-on-1. When another dragon comes up behind her and says, "Move," and she's like, "Oh shit, what the fuck, move?" Then she realises it was in her head, and she's like, "Whoa, you can hear me." And basically the bond between dragons is that they can communicate, but they only communicate to their rider. And she's like, "What the fuck is happening?" And this is the biggest. He's like a black dragon, which is rare anyway, but he's the biggest like dragon that you'll ever see, and he hasn't bonded in years, and apparently he was not up for bonding, but all of a sudden he has bonded her, and she's like, what the fuck, like she doesn't even think she's worthy, she still thinks she's completely frail, and just not gonna happen. She's gonna be dead into the ear. She's not even expecting anything. And then it's like, what the fuck? This dragon has just bonded me. He's in my head. And this dragon, by the way, 10. Let me see if I can find his actual name. Because I don't particularly want to ruin it. Oh, I'm going to ruin it because this is a spoiler alert anyway, isn't it? Yeah, 10. I can't remember its full name, but it's just 10. T-A-I-R-N. 10. He's basically the most sarcastic arsehole you'll ever meet. He's just there like, will you shut up? And she's like, oh my god, you're in my head. And he goes, yeah, no shit. And he's like, move out the way so I can just kill these 3. One of them runs away. He kills the other 2. And it's like, whoa, blows thingy. And then all of a sudden, and this is where the big spoiler comes in, she hears like a female voice, like a really small female voice, and she's like, fuck's that? Turns out it's the golden one. And she's like, wait, I've bonded 2 dragons. Like, has anyone actually ever done that before? And he basically says, look, I've bonded you because you defended this one. And she goes, whoa, like, what the fuck? And then this other one's like, I bonded you. But feathertails aren't meant to bond. They have powers that are so raw. They haven't really got powers. It's just more, they do things through pure will. Completely by accident and completely uncontrolled. And it's like, what the fuck? Anyway, so he's like, right, you need to get on and we need to ride back to base. And she's like, what the fuck? I can't do that. And it's then from and then on, like, she can't ride it. It's too big. She keeps falling off. If you fall off, you die. And he has to keep like picking her up. And he's just like, why have I chosen you? You're so weak. And she's like, fucking no. You know. And yeah. So between the 3 of them, it's like all in their head. It's like absolutely mental. And she's just like absolutely blown away. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, gets back into base, and then everyone's like, what the fuck has happened here? Obviously, the general being her mum's like, whoa, yes. But in a very like blunt way, like, she doesn't, of course she's proud, but she's never going to show it because she's a general, and she's just a hard ass. And so, I'm really trying to remember this. I only finished reading it like 2 days ago, but I've read it over the space of like 3 weeks, so I'm going to try and retell it. Anyway, so she gets back, and things have sort of slightly changed, and now she's even more in danger, because whilst you're trying to learn sort of your powers and trying to figure out your signet and things like this, you're most vulnerable because people will want to kill you. So in hopes that they take your place with that dragon, and obviously she's got the biggest and best dragon with the most power. You've got a target on your head. So she's like, shit. Anyway, Zayden comes to see her at some point. And he's like, I need to teach you how to fight. I need to teach you how to, like, ride your dragon properly. We need to put things in place. And she obviously really just doesn't trust him because he's the son. He's got a relic. They're all branded with relics, by the way. After the rebellion, sort of show you are the bad guys. And yeah, so he's like, I need to teach you to fight. I need to teach you to ride. And she's like, why the fuck are you helping me? And he's like, oh, it don't matter, this, that, the other. And then all of a sudden, I can't remember which way round it is. I think either he speaks to Tan or she speaks. So his dragon, by the way, Zayden's dragon is Sigale. Is it Sigale? I'm gonna have to flick through. I'm so sorry. I think it is Sargale. Definitely is Sigale. Sigale. That's how you pronounce it. Anyway, so his dragon is Sigale, the female, and she's got a male black dragon. And she's like, why can I hear your dragon in my head? And he's like, the same way I can hear yours. They're a mated pair. And she's like, what the fuck, what do you mean? He's like, oh, well, these mated. And then she's like, whoa, shit. Oh, the younger golden dragon, by the way, is called... I hate this, by the way. I really wish my memory was better, because I know this. I know exactly who they are. They are so... This just gives you a brief little excerpt. So this is when he's just bonded her. She goes, the black dragon jumps. The golden one bends down, flexing its legs, then launches into the sky with its golden wings, catching the sun as it flies off. so it can fly. So she was thinking, oh, it can't defend itself, it's going to die when they're trying to kill her. And then the black dragon says, get on. The black dragon growls, shaking the ground in the trees at the edge of the field. And she says, you don't want me, I argue. I'm not going to tell you again. Point taken. And then, like, she's struggling to, like, hold on or whatever. And then Ten just goes, you're a rider, are you not? Like, fucking hold on. There you are. So his name, it says my name is Tenanok. There you are, Tenanok. It says, but I'm not going to assume that you'll ever be able to remember that once we reach the field, so 10 will do until I inevitably have to remind you. Yeah, okay, so she bonds the black dragon, and then they get back to the field, and it's only then when she has to, so there's a rule keeper, that basically goes, okay, what's your name, and what dragon have you bonded? And you need to write the names down so we all know who's who. And then she goes, okay, I'm, Violet Sorringale, I've bonded 10. And they go, wicked, and then all of a sudden it's, oh, and this person, she's like, what? Why does it say it? It's doing me in. It's got to be around here somewhere. Yeah, there you go. So it says, I feel the blood rush from my face and the edges of my vision sway as I pivot on my good ankle, staring back across the field at where the golden dragon, Andana, there you go, Andana, now stands between Ten's front legs. So, Andana, there you go. I can't believe I forgot that. Oh! It's doing me in. Anyway, where was I? I actually can't remember where I was. That's really annoying. Either way, she's bonded 2 dragons. Fantastic. Now people want to kill her. Take a power, take a dragon, whatever. Oh, that's the one. So yeah, so Xaden and her have a mated pair. And they're like, she's like, shit. So he's like, even if I wanted to kill you, I couldn't, because if I kill you, I die. Like, basically, they're bonded now. And whatever happens to either of them, both of them will die. That's the sort of ruling anyway. That's what they think will happen. So, obviously, Violet's there like, wait, 10, if you're mated with Sigale, is Andani your? And he's like, nope, no. It was a dragon that belonged to another set of dragons that no longer exist. So we took her under our wing, and that's it. She's like an adopted dragon. And by the way, 10 is like a really sarcastic prick. Sigale is just an angry motherfucker. So they're both quite, like, Sigale's very powerful anyway, but 10's like ridiculously powerful. It's just not been harnessed within Violet yet. Hopefully it will. And then you've got Andana that's like, la 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 la. It's really funny because she's just like, I just really like life. And she's like, yeah, okay, cool. But she's a child basically, so, but in like dragon, I don't know, it's mental. Anyway, so they basically have a mutual interest, which then leads them to falling in love. Of course it leads them to falling in love, much to the disbelief of Dane. And then yeah, the story goes on from there, and it sort of goes on from them going towards the end of the year, and then joining into war games, which is like a big thing, where like they have to finish war games at the end of a year to pass, and people still die during that anyway, and just even weeds out even the strongest of people. But it takes a very, very sudden twist when basically like Xaden and the other rebels, they're not meant to meet up in more than 3 people. And even before Threshing and Violet bonding a dragon, she's caught them sort of meeting up and doing secret meetings and being like what you'd expect a family to be, and just like looking out for one another. So she's like, look, I'm not going to dob you in. I should dob you in because that's the rules, but I'm not going to because actually he didn't do anything wrong, and that's why Xaden sort of like kept her alive, because like she's got a secret. And she's like, look, if I've got this secret I can hold against him, maybe it'll help me in the long run. Anyway, and that keeps happening throughout the season. Like, she sees them going out like late at night and being like, where the fuck are they going? And she just thinks that they're going for these secret meetings and just being a bit like, family. And the more she trusts him, the more that she doesn't want to not trust him, and then she falls in love with him, and they get together and whatnot. And then they get to this war games, and they're like, look, Violet needs to come with me, we're going to go somewhere else. Dane, you stay with the rest of the group and go to where exactly you're supposed to go. And he's like, yep, cool, whatever. Puts his hand on Violet's face and says, look, I'm really sorry. I hope to see you again. And she's like, okay. Like, cool, let's hope that we all survive. Yeah, great, cool. Why make it so sad? And then they fly off and they get somewhere. And then, so, throughout this book as well, you'll learn about that it keeps being attacks on the kingdom from, what they're called? Griffin riders, and the people that sort of ride griffins and things like that are sort of the bad guys. You just don't really hear too much about them, whatever. And so, anyway, we're getting towards the end of the book now, and all of this has happened, all the stories progress, and it's going to good. And they've gone off on their own. She's with Xaden, and then they get to a place, and all of a sudden she's basically like, I don't even recognise that person, that's not even someone from the college, like, what's going on? And she turns around, and this woman's like, oh, blonde hair. Like, there's only one person I know of that, and that's the Sorengale's daughter. And then Xaden's like, hands off her, you're not touching her. And she's like, what the fuck's going on? And she's like a griffin rider, and he's like, where the fuck's all this come? And then her friend Liam, that's been looking after her and sort of keeping watch, like, grabs her and holds on to her. And you can't go anywhere. And she's like, oh my god, this is a trap. Like, all this time, they've been meeting up, and basically, while she's being held, you find out that they've been helping out sort of other factions outside of, like, the major city and the family, or not family, but what's it called, like, the faction. They've been meeting up outside of that and supplying them with weapons and helping them, and it's like, what the fuck? This is, like, very, very illegal. Like, this is well bad. And then Xaden's like, look, it's not what you think it is. Like, this is a good thing. Like, sometimes, like, I think there's a quote that really stood out. He was like, sometimes you can start on the right side of a war and end up on the wrong side of it. This is one of them moments where, yeah, what happened in the past is bad, but now looking forward, everything that's happening, you're being hidden from, and there's things like outside threats that you're just not being told about, that people are fighting day in, day out, and people are dying. You just don't hear about it because it's not within your faction, and someone needs to help. And she's like, get the fuck off me, you can see you later. And then they get attacked by what's called the Venom. Now, Venom are people that have basically sold their soul and don't need to bond dragons in order to harness magic power, but it turns them really evil and really bad, and they're very, very powerful. Like, the dragon riders are like, look, we've only come to warn you that these people keep getting attacked, and these are the outposts that got attacked. And she's like, those outposts don't even exist anymore. And they're like, yes, they fucking do. You've just been hidden from the knowledge. And it's like, whoa, it's like, she sort of has these realizations that everything she thinks, and she's like, Venom don't even exist. They're just mythical things that don't ever, they're just things. And then she realizes actually maybe they are real. And that, one of them, two of them took out a whole encampment of these griffin riders, and it was like really bad. It's like, what the fuck? Like, these whole tribes are just dying because of it. And so actually maybe the threat is real. And then all of a sudden they get attacked by the Venom, and it's like, what the fuck? And she has to, oh, by the way, at this point, we find out she can wield lightning. Her signet is that she can wield lightning. Not very well. Not very well by any stretch of the imagination. She can't really aim it. But if she gets emotional enough, then boom, blast. Anyway, so they get attacked towards the end of the book, and it's all just very messy. It's like people are dying, someone else had like died, people are in danger, like the dragons are in danger, and Dana's with them, and she shouldn't be. And it's like, so, and Dana being a young one, we find once or twice she has this ability to stop time, which is very rare, like really rare, but also really dangerous for her. Basically, if you use too much power, you can burn out and die. That's simple. As Andana puts it, everything has balance. If you try to wield too much power, you'll just burn out and die. So, she's done it once or twice, very briefly, and it's like really cost Andana's life. And so, they're in this battle at the end, and it's like these Venom are very strong, very powerful creatures that they just can't seem to kill. They're, taking everyone out. She's wielding as much lightning and burning herself out. Turn's getting aggy. Things are just happening, and then Andana's like, right, freeze time. Everything, like the whole world, like basically collapses. And not really, but shit happens. And then I think Vi gets stabbed by one of these venom, and it's like really bad for you. So it's like, what the fuck? And then she wakes up next to Zayden in what is the rebellion capital, which wasn't supposed to be there because that got scorched off the earth after the rebellion. Supposedly, they've rebuilt it and it's looking better than ever, but she's like, what the fuck? Like, this isn't a thing. Like, this shouldn't be a place. Like, one, I trusted you, I fell in love with you, and I fell for you, but then you've gone and ruined it by lying to me about what you've been doing all this time. Lying to me about who you are all this time. You've let me in on secrets that I thought made us closer, but it didn't. All this shit, and now you've lied to me about the rebellion and just things like that, and the revolution. And then, yeah, all this stuff that, my own family have betrayed me. Oh, by the way, what I said about Dane touching her cheek, that was basically a tell. And he covertly read everything about her, all of her memories that she'd spent with Zayden, which was like a major breach of trust. And something that she was like, what the fuck? So now she doesn't even, what is going on? So when Dane put his hand on her cheek and was like, I'll miss you, she's gone, shit, he's read my memories and everything that I've shared with Zayden and everything that he has seen. Dane has now seen, because we share that bond and we're connected and we can share memories and we can share things. So it's like, now I don't trust Dane, I can't go back. I don't trust Zayden because of all the lies and all the secrets he's kept from me. Obviously, Ten, her dragon, has shared all these memories but has hidden them from her because he's mated to Segale, and Segale's basically gone, you can't tell a thing, and there's nothing stronger than a bond between, the only thing stronger than a bond between a dragon and their rider is a dragon and their mated dragon. So, it's both, basically, she feels this big, because of all these other outside factors, and she's woken up in this capital, she's like, I got told this didn't even exist, so now even I'm questioning everything. And then as the book ends, she turns, and in walks her brother, that was meant to have died 6 years ago. What the fuck? Mental. So, apologies for all of the spoilers in there. I do wholeheartedly apologise. But there was no way for me to explain this book and go into that much detail without. That's helped me sort of corroborate a lot. I've probably got a lot wrong. But that is all within this book, so I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you want to go and give it an actual read without all the spoilers, feel free. But it is coming to Amazon soon, so they're taking up the mantle of hopefully making it into a series. I'd love it as a series, to be fair. I think it's fantastic. It does blend all of the good parts of Game of Thrones, like the Hunger Games and Divergence and fucking Avatar, all in one go. And it really just blends all of them sort of fantasy cultures. So yeah, I'm on to the second one now. I might do a follow-up video very similar to this once I've finished the second one. But I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll catch you later. Goodbye.